Well, a huge namaste from India with lots of love and an open heart and open arms. My friend Tina from Sweden and I, we are back with the 12th episode of When East Meets West. Today, we have a very, very interesting subject. Is coaching without tough questions meaningful? Well, the coaching industry is estimated to be 5.34 billion globally, and ICF says that the CARG is 17%. And if you see all around the geopolitical situation, the cultural situation, the social situation, yes, people need people who hold their hand and help them to become better versions of themselves. Now, mind it, I am saying a better version of themselves. And what does a coach do? A coach helps them to become a better version of themselves, which means the coach helps them to dive deep, face the demons, and they transform. In this background, Tina, welcome. And
Thank you so much.
you have been a brilliant coach in Sweden doing international work. I've been a coach for a number of years doing work in India and internationally. So, can I pose the first question to you?
Absolutely. But first, I would like to correct you just a little bit. Yeah, I'm placed in Sweden, Copenhagen metropolitan, but I work internationally. So I have been coaching people from all the way from United States over to Europe and also down in the Arabic part of the world. And in some cases, and also in your amazing continent,
Hmm.
India. So this is, I say I speak English, 95% of my day. It's sometimes also some German. I say I speak some Kneipendeutsch. So yes, that's what I do on day. That's my job. That's my
Okay,
profession.
brilliant, guys. I'm sorry. I should not have made that, silly, small, absent minded mistake. Okay.
No problem.
Well, yes, Tina is a lovely international coach, and her specialty is adaptability. And that is one thing which is required in today's time where constant disruption is happening and things are changing at the drop of a hat.
It is.
So, Tina, my first question is
Yes, please.
which is the tough question? When we say tough questions, what does it mean to you and what comes to your mind?
Yeah, it's a very good question because a tough question can be very subjective considering the person you have in front of you. So if you ask a question, you see a reaction. It can, of course, be that question hit something in the client in front of me. You can ask the same question to another client and then there's no reaction. So this is really, really subjective. So I sometimes turn the question around to my client. What would be a tough question for you today? So the client defines what a tough question is. Or so what question would you like me to avoid asking? That's a very interesting question, when you have a client in front of you. But I would put it this way that coaching and career coaching, if you take career coaching, where you, in my case, I coach a lot of unemployed people or people that are in the need of transformation. And if we look what's going on in the world today, we have a geopolitical game going on. And I say game because I see it as a game. But we also have a huge technological shift. And I spoke with the company yesterday, and they will go through a huge transformation where basically people will have agents, if AI agents to manage. And this shift is a technological shift that after the technology has sort of started to develop and you have developed new business models, the people need to be transformed. And I say people needs to be transformed. That means that every person in that company need to upskill and unlearn and learn, if I put it that way. And that requires for many a huge mindset shift. So if I'm a career coach and I coach my client and I want some sort of transformation, a sort of mindset shift, I can't be what I say a little bit like that, a feel good coach. So you just feel good. As a coach, I need to have a reaction in order to create awareness in the client I have around me. So they grow in self awareness. So they grow into understanding, what we call growth mindset. So this is a very, very essential part where I would say the difference between maybe a very good coach. I was disappearing, but I'm back. Thank you. So, the difference between a very good coach and a more mediocre coach is the ability of asking these questions that hit the client so they, for a period, go through a transformation. And that doesn't, that could be, I wouldn't say uncomfortable, but it can be for some clients something they don't expect should be coaching, if I put it that way. But that's my definition of it, or definition, but that's how I see what is a tough question. Really
Uh,
depends. Yeah.
what I hear from you, Tina, is, and this happens a lot in my line because I work in the space of consciousness and profitability and I align them. People are prone to be in their comfort zone. So
Yep, that's true.
anything which disturbs their routine or makes them look at the devil inside them or the skeletons, which they believe that they have long forgotten, you know, are very hesitant. And a number of times, what has happened that anything which, a question, which makes them look into themselves,
Mm.
which gives them a sense of unpleasantness, people have resisted those kind of questions. And so for me, it would be like a tough question is something which, you know, pushes people to change their internal status quo.
Yes, right. And that hurts. It can hurt.
Yes. And it
Yes.
definitely hurts because
Mm,
no one wants to see themselves in
mm.
black. They carry a very glorified image of themselves. And I think this is human nature. Now, you
Absolutely.
mentioned a very important thing. You talked of comfort
Mm.
coaching, or you used a phrase that it becomes a feel good coaching.
Yes.
Don't you
Feel
think in
good
certain
coaching. It's very popular today.
uh, don't you think feel good coaching is also essential a number of times?
Absolutely. But then we need to define the purpose of the coaching. We said career coaching.
Hmm?
The career coaching is a person, if I work for a mission for a company, this person needs awareness that they need, for example, to upskill themselves. Otherwise, there is a choice to stay in the company or to leave. That could be one career coaching. The other one can be they are unemployed. And they are unemployed for a reason. They lost a job or they are just unemployed. And I need to create awareness that that exact job that you are looking for doesn't exist any longer. So it's a mixture. And in these cases, I usually say that career coaching for me, and I could take the example academic people, since I coach so many of them. And I say, you have now done a PhD, yes? And you want to do postdoc or do you want to go to industry? And they say, I don't know. So, as a career coach in that situation, I need to create awareness about the reality check and the opportunities they have. And then they can take a decision. Yeah, that's fine. So put it this way. Okay, then I play the full piano. I'm not only a coach, I am a coach, advisor, and a mentor. Mentor for the reason I am an assistant professor that made the transition from academia to industry. Advisor because I know the academic system and I understand the requirements of the labor market. And then coach. So I need to play the full piano. But if I only play coach and a feel good coach, nothing will happen with that client. And that could create a feeling, oh, wow, where they confirm themselves they are in a victim role, there are no jobs, my clients feel pity about me. That's feel good, or could be a risk of a feel good coaching. Yeah. But if I create awareness, I realize as a coach by asking questions, oh, they don't understand the labor market in Germany. It could be people from India. They have a blind spot. Then it's my job as a coach to create that awareness. Because when I do that, they can make a reality check and take a decision themselves. That's a mindset shift. I move them from victim to taking accountability in their own career. So my client grow. However, in the moment I create that awareness, it can hurt when they realize from another person, maybe the first time, that, oh, the door to academia might be closed. Then it's fully understandable if they don't like me as a coach because they have to project it to me. My coach she told me, no, did I really tell you? No, I informed you about what academic career means. I didn't tell you it was impossible. I just informed you about the requirements. And here we have it to understand this. And if you want to create that awareness, and for those listening, it can hurt. So that is my definition of it. That also means when I am a coach, I of course can have feel good sessions when I might see that my client is not ready. I have to create some sort of softness so they maybe have time to speak about their things. And I don't. I just make them, be where they are, basically. Take the client where the client is. But I'm coming to the but again. If you work for an organization and you have 4 hours of coaching, they actually want me as a coach to create that awareness. So I can't only have feel good sooner or later in the process.
Well,
Yeah,
I
that,
love
that
I loved what you said, Tina.
no,
Start gentle, but don't remain gentle.
exactly.
You see, and my experience as a coach has been that feel good coaching is only the starting point, like you rightly said, to make people comfortable. But the real purpose of coaching is their transformation, their shift. And any shift, any transformation comes only from awareness that what
Yes,
is
it does.
missing, what needs to change, where am I going wrong, what do I don't know. And yes, so if you are looking for a transformation, then I don't think so there's any escape from tough questions.
No, there is no escape. If you, as a coach, escape from tough questions, if we call them that, you will never create awareness in your client.
Okay, now let's flip it. I'll put it this way: if the coachee escapes or tries to escape from tough questions, he or she will never change.
That's correct.
Because for the
That's
coach,
correct.
it is not what the coach knows, it is the intent of the coach to help the coachee.
Yes.
How do you go around, making the coaches understand that, well, you can't escape or you can't push the tough question below the carpet? You got to face it. And it's only when you face it that the true transformation for which you are here would manifest. Do you
That's
have a
true.
particular formula for that, or it's conversational? Or what
Yeah.
is it?
Yes, I have a particular formula around that. And now I have to be very, very honest here. I have private clients, and there I act differently. There I am the coach Tina I can be. Then I work for organizations, and that is more difficult because then you have me, the client, and the company or the organization I work for. So there I have to orient myself. But when I have usually one trick is always, and this is why I don't buy or sell, sorry, I don't sell 1 hour coaching. You know, there are coaches that sell 1 hour, 1 hour. I don't do that because I need to sell a package because I know it usually takes 3 months to create some sort of change or awareness. 3 months. A certain amount of sessions you need to go through before you sort of come to a point where you start that the client, you can see a transformation in your client. If the client is, if I put it that, coachable. So my experience is if I have a package of half a year, the transformation for a coachable client starts around session 4 something. I can see change. Yeah. But then of course you have clients, they are more stuck. They are in a set mindset. They know things, they know best, they know everything. There I actually go back and become a gentle coach. Yeah. So after realizing that if I ask the tough questions, they stop, I go back and I confirm the client, say, okay, let's try it your way. Yeah. Okay, let's try it your way. And then, we evaluate it from that. So I basically stop asking tough questions and go back in not confirming they are right or wrong. I just say, as I would say to anyone, let's try it your way. And when that way doesn't work, are you ready now for my way? Yeah, some sort of game between back and forth here.
Mhm.
And that usually helps, but it comes with time. And this is, of course, where I talk with companies and organization. Coaching here is not the quick fix. You need time in between. So when I was a young coach, some mistakes I tended to do with these clients who are more in the stuck phase, hard to move around, was that I continue to sort of trigger them for change. And that causes the wrong reaction. So now I step back instead. I step back.
I've seen one phenomenon in India that these companies, the HR development companies, who call themselves consultants, and they marry the coach and the requirements of the organizations. A number of times,
Mm.
they want that their coaches, uh, recommended by them, the client should feel very happy. And like we talked, a number of
Mm.
times the client becomes very uncomfortable when tough questions
Yep.
are
Yep.
asked.
Yep.
And the HR people in the organization who do not
Mm.
understand coaching, usually land up blaming the coach. Does such
Yes.
a thing happen in Sweden also?
Yes, it does. I have personally been in such a situation just recently. And this is when you have a human resource department that usually is weak. They don't understand coaching. They may be protecting their own position. And then you maybe have, as in my case also, a career service unit, young people, very good, very ambitious, but they don't understand what coaching is. So they mix it up with some sort of feel good. So everyone just should be happy and feel good and everything is fine. And the more, happy and feel good we do, the more unhappy we become because we create no awareness. You will not grow. You will realize 10 years later that the advice you actually got was a good one, but you didn't take it. So I completely agree with you. But I also would like to add to this, Sandeep, and that is that for the last 10 years, there has been a shift in the coaching business that makes me a little bit worried. at least in Sweden, that we are afraid for arguments, we are afraid to lose the job, we have human resource departments that are afraid, and everything goes to policy regulations. And that means that it's getting harder and harder to be a coach and do a proper job. Because I need to see that transformation happen in my client. My clients can't always be feel good, feeling happy exactly after the coaching session, because then I can't create an awareness. So I see the same development, and I have a feeling of, I have no numbers on it, and let's see what you think, that as you said, that human resource people, managers, don't understand the essence of coaching, but they have an idea. And I also come with, they are mixing up maybe, and I'd like to hear from you, empathy, compassion, and pity. And feeling pity for your client because they are unemployed is super dangerous, because I project pitiness to my client. So my clients strengthen the victim role. And that is mixed up with compassion. What's your take?
Tina,
Yeah.
for me, empathy and pity, they are absolutely dangerous. And I'm talking in terms of the neurobiological changes which happen.
Yeah.
Pity is all about poor guy, poor person, look what's happening to him or her.
Yeah. Yeah.
The next step is empathy, which is, has become a buzzword. Everyone is saying empathetic,
Yeah.
empathetic, empathetic, empathy, empathy. Empathy is feeling the pain, what the other person is feeling. Now that means feeling the emotion or the senses which the other person is going through, and they are contagious. So what happens if there's no filter? You start believing that you are also in pain. Like if you go
Yes.
to a doctor and you say,
Mm.
Doctor, I got a pain in my arms. And if the doctor doesn't pull down the screen between you and the doctor, believe me, after 5 minutes, the doctor will also have pain in his arm. Then comes compassion. Now, the difference between empathy and compassion is empathy is feeling what the other person is feeling, compassion is the ambition to help the other person to come out of pain.
Mm. Mm.
Now, empathy is processed in a different part of our brain. The ambition to help is processed in a different part of the brain. So, when you have that intent, like all good coaches have, to help the other person come out of their pain and transform, it falls in the category of compassion, because then the coach can disengage himself or herself from the pain of the person, think objectively, and help objectively. So I might have given a long answer to your
No,
global
very
piece,
good one.
but the thing is, I personally believe that coaching cannot be done merely intellectually. Emotions are also involved in that, and where emotions are involved, how does your body react, how does your brain react, how does your mind react, that is also very important
Mhm.
to be aware of.
To be aware of. Yeah. And I can give an example of a situation where I saw, this huge transformation that makes my life as a coach worthwhile. And that is when this was group coaching, basically. And it was a group of academically trained people that needed to sort of a transformation in the meeting to understand, that they want to leave academia, but they don't know how. And I was invited to facilitate. And when I came in the room, everyone was, blah, 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 blah. There are no jobs. It's no point. the system is corrupt, the recruiting doesn't work. They have been going down in that sort of movement that everything was just not working. So they projected to the system rather than what can I do? Because no, I can't do anything. This is the system. Okay. And then I started, because it was facilitation and teaching a bit. So I started to teach and they argued with me. And I said, it's interesting. Now you're standing here and you have an opportunity to ask a lot of questions and you argue with me. Yeah. But what about trying to go from argue to a dialogue? Yeah. So you have 1 hour now to ask smart questions to me. And then, there was a silence. And then, they started and, we had an exercise. And then I never forget this moment, Sandeep. There was a guy from Bangladesh, I think it was. He just
Hmm.
stood up from around the table. He had become more and more silent, by the way. And suddenly he stood up. And then he said, it's about me.
Hmm.
And I said, yeah, you got it. It's about you. And, that changed the dynamic in the whole room. And that is the moment, that's a transformation in that group. And I couldn't have done that without being a little bit tough, without, you know, twisting a
Yes.
bit.